Morning everyone, Corey Anderson here. It is January 31st and it is 9:07 a.m. and I just want to start by saying this is by far the most challenging thing I have set out to do for myself, because it's something that I just was inspired to do for you, for me, for you, for everyone, for as well as others. I'm a firm believer in the importance of reading and the importance of writing, especially when you're the only one doing this, you're the only one that sees it. It's hard to keep going. It really is. But we haven't forgotten the law that actions always speak louder than words, and actions are what must be done. Work must be done in order to manifest what you have in here to bring it out in the outer. And today marks the next week of going over our next lesson in the Master Key System. And last week, the most important thing we learned in part 11 was inductive reasoning, which is taking the golden line, that information which all of these books share. Okay, what is that one thing that all of these books share and talk about? And I'm going to go over that a little bit with you. And I'm not going to forget how far we've come. And I know that we still have a long way to go. And we went over mental chemistry with you guys. We went over the instant millionaire. In mental chemistry, he talks about facts and figures. He talks about the infinite substance from which we all proceed. He goes over suggestion, autosuggestion, the power of the mind, the organic and the inorganic world, and the difference between these two worlds. What else did he go over? He went over metaphysics, psychology. It's been several months since I read it to you guys, and one of the biggest things I got out of this book is when in the very last chapter, when he talks about mind and electrons and photons, that mind is in control of these electrons, which the material world is made out of. Because the material world is made of electromagnetism, and there's this electromagnetism, the magnetism which holds this electricity together, and this electricity takes form and shape according to the mind. And it's a very interesting concept when you actually think about it. The Instant Millionaire was the third book we read to you guys. The same thing. And this one he talks about the conscious and subconscious mind, the importance of setting goals, constantly reading those goals, your affirmations, and to constantly help yourself to remember, because when no one else is doing it, you're the only one that could really help yourself to stay in the game. Okay, what's going to keep you in the game? Okay, the second book we went over was How the Mind Works. Okay, this one he goes deeply into the usage of the conscious and subconscious mind, and how we could consciously utilize both of those powers within ourselves that already exist within ourselves, because the conscious mind deals with facts, deals with ideas, or deals with wants and desires and needs, and the subconscious mind deals with ideas and the ways and means and how to get it, and the desire, or giving you the desire for making it happen. Okay? And How the Mind Works, he also goes over suggestions by the environment, and how we need to not really pay attention to those suggestions and look over them. Like Jesus would say, do not judge by appearances. Okay, look beyond those appearances and see what's behind it, what caused it to happen. Okay, and then we are going over our lovely book, the trilogy of the Science of Being by Wallace D. Wattles. He's by far one of my favorite authors. We finished The Science of Getting Rich. In The Science of Getting Rich, he talks about the original substance, which is the infinite mind, the universal mind, the infinite energy, the intelligent energy which permeates and pervades all of space, because there is no such thing as empty space. It is filled by a consciously living substance. It is filled by God, the infinite mind, the mind which all creatures of the earth, including me and you, has embodied itself in a creature in physical form to have this experience. Okay, and in The Science of Getting Rich, he goes over the gratitude, visualization, the foundation of taking action. The action is the second half of thinking, because when you think, you are creating, you are setting those forces in motion, and by actions you receive those specific things that you are asking for. And he goes over, what else does he go over? That man, us, we are thinking centers of this infinite thinking substance. We are like a center, a mind center within this universal mind. Okay, and it is our mind, our thoughts, our actions that this infinite mind takes up on and acts upon it and brings into our life as our manifestations. That is how we have been given the power to create in our world, because it says in the Bible that God created us in His image. Okay, we are created to be like Him. We are created to be God-like. Jesus the Messiah was a man. He was a manifestation of God, and so are all people. Me and you. Okay, and we have the power to do everything that He did. Okay, we could heal people. We could heal ourselves. Okay, we just need to learn to tap into the spiritual healing power that we have within ourselves. Okay, we could create our own world. We could. It's amazing. It's really amazing. And today I'm going over our chapter 12, starting our third month in the Master Key. Remember, there's 24 parts, and we read one part every day for the entire week to get the lesson that it has from it. And today we're going over part 12, and like I was saying, in part 11, the biggest thing I got out of it was, okay. So inductive reasoning, like I was saying, it is finding the golden line between each one of these books that each one share, okay, including this one as well. And they all talk about an intelligent energy, a source from which we all came from. Okay, we're finding that golden line between which everything shares, and we are implementing it into our own life. Because even though we all have our own, we all know or have our own way of putting this for ourselves, it is still only one truth. There's only one. Okay, there is only one, and there is an answer. Okay, and all these are different ways of helping us to find the real answer. Okay, and so far we have that we've come from one intelligent source. This intelligent knows all things. It's the infinite mind. It's never limited, because it is literally unlimited. It permeates all of space. Okay, not just here in what's happening on Earth, but it's also way out there supporting other life at the same time. Millions and millions of other lives. Okay, trillions, billions, trillions of planets. That it is just, it's infinite, literally. And also we got a few quotes. Whatsoever things that ye desire. We are not limited ourselves, so we could literally have whatever we want. It is a quote by Jesus the Messiah. It is from Mark. Okay? It says, whatsoever things ye desire, when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them. Okay, and there's another one, that it is done unto you as you believe. It's all metaphysics. Jesus was a master metaphysician, and he understood these laws, and that our mind is identical with the universal mind, that we can literally put ourselves in conscious unity with this infinite power, and once we do that, it reflects back to us what we are thinking and casting out to it, because it is done to us as we believe. Okay, when we believe with the power of belief, when we believe that we are important, when we believe that we're here to make a difference in this world, this mind casts that back to us and gives us the things that is necessary for us to actually make that difference in this world. And it does it in ways that it knows would be best for us to be able to make it happen. Whatsoever things. It is not limited. That word is not limited. And faith Faith is the substance of things hoped for, evidence of things not seen. Faith is a substance, a mind substance. When you're thinking, you're releasing that specific energy. Remember, your thought is energy. Your thought is real, a real living thing. Okay, when you think, you're releasing that thought element into the air, that conscious energy. Okay, and when you do that, you're releasing. When you're in the mind, when you're in the state of faith, you're releasing that specific substance, that specific mentality into the air, that mind substance. Okay, and then it comes back and casts back to us. Okay, as we think into it. The substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And that's what all the successful people talk about, having faith. That is one of the most important principles that Jesus emphasized to us, is to have faith. Okay, so introduction to part 12. Okay, let's get started. Part 12 is enclosed herewith. In the 4th paragraph, you will find the following statement. You must first have the knowledge of your power. Second, the courage to dare. Third, the faith to do it. If you concentrate upon the thoughts given, if you give them your entire attention, you will find a world of meaning in each sentence. You will attract to yourself other thoughts in harmony with them, and you will soon grasp the full significance of the vital knowledge upon which you are concentrating. Knowledge does not apply itself. We as individuals must make the applications, and the application consists in fertilizing the thought with a living purpose. The time and thought which most persons waste in aimless effort would accomplish wonders if properly directed with some special object in view. In order to do this, it is necessary to center your mental force upon a specific thought and hold it there, to the exclusion of all other thoughts. If you have ever looked through the viewfinder on a video camera, you will find that when an object was not in focus, the impression was indistinct and possibly blurred. But when the proper focus was obtained, the picture was clear and distinct. This illustrates the power of concentration. Unless you can concentrate upon the object which you have in view, you will have but a hazy, indifferent, vague, indistinct, and blurred outline of your ideal, and the results will be in accordance with your mental picture. Wow, that is very interesting. So the power of concentration, I know we learned about this in another chapter, okay, when he was comparing it to a magnifying glass. Okay, when you're concentrating that focused light, it creates a beam. Okay, and we all know what that magnifying glass could do. It could burn you. It could burn things. It could literally catch things on fire. Same thing with you. When you are thinking in a concentrated state of mind, okay, remember how I was saying in another video I had gone through, I was meditating one day and I was really focusing and concentrating on how when I changed my focus from one thing to another, how my energies would shift. Okay, it's like we have like little fingers, okay, like this energy that is shooting out from us, this beam, they're like fingers, okay, they're like roots. Okay, and when you put in your consciousness, when you're putting your focus in one specific thing, these fingers, these roots literally move, and they like reach out for that thing, they like go to grab it, okay, and then you at the same time, you're moving that direction because that is where you're putting your energy. Okay, and then when I put myself in the state of reception, okay, when I was just receiving, just focusing on listening to the things around me, focusing on how my body felt, focusing on my breathing, okay, the air that fills my lungs, I felt my energies just come back right around me, okay, and then it's like your aura, okay, we'll say the aura, your aura just specifically circled around you. It's like it makes a circle around you because it is receptive from every single angle. Okay, you're hearing the birds outside, you're hearing what's happening in the room next door, you're hearing, let's say, if you have your fan on, you're concentrating on your breathing. All of these things that is in your environment, you are receptive to it. Okay, so the power of concentration. And that is it is important to be able to concentrate when you're visualizing, so you have that clear, distinct image, mental image of what you want, so you could distinctly impress upon your subconscious mind that nice, clear image. It's got to be crystal clear. Part 12. There is no purpose in life that cannot be accomplished through a scientific understanding of the creative power of thought. This power to think is common to all. Man is, because he thinks. Man's power to think is infinite. Consequently, his creative power is unlimited. We know that thought is building for us the thing we think of and actually bringing it nearer. Yet we find it difficult to banish fear, anxiety, or discouragement, all of which are powerful thought forces, and which we continually send the things we desire further away, so that it is often one step forward and two steps backwards. Man, this is one thing that we are still learning to do, because that we know that as long as we keep going, we still have a chance to make this happen, and that we know that God is always with us, and He is with me and you. There's nothing that we cannot do, because there's nothing that God can't do. Okay, we are created in His image, and we are created to create, and we have the power to make it happen. We must banish fear, for fear, like He said, is the dark cloud which hides the sun. Okay, we must not have anxiety or discouragement. Okay, because we know that as long as we let our light shine and keep moving forward, then there's really, we're like lighting the pathway for us to move towards. We have to have that nice clean mental picture, nice and clear, so we don't get suggestions from the outside world and let it inhibit our own inner world and what we know it is possible for us, and that we know that as long as we keep going, we will make it happen. The only way to keep from going backwards is to keep going forward. Eternal vigilance is the price of success. There are 3 steps, and each one is absolutely essential. You must first have the knowledge of your power, second, the courage to dare, and third, the faith to do it. I think I am going to share this with you guys. I could not have hit this part at the perfect time, just what we are talking about. This is exactly what I need to hear. With this as a basis, you can construct an ideal business, an ideal home, ideal friends, and ideal environment. You are not restricted as to material or cost. Thought is omnipotent and has the power to draw on the infinite bank of primary substance for all that it requires. Infinite resources are therefore at your command. But your ideal must be sharp, clear-cut, definite. You have one ideal today, another tomorrow, and a third next week. Means to scatter your forces and accomplish nothing. Your result will be a meaningless and chaotic combination of wasted material. Unfortunately, this is the result which many are securing, and the cause is self-evident. If a sculptor started out with a piece of marble and a chisel, and changed his ideal every 15 minutes, what result could he expect? And why should you expect any different results in molding the greatest and most plastic of all substances, the only real substance? You must have one thing that you want to do, okay, one definite goal, and to stick to that one specific thing without letting something else come in and then making you change your idea, change your thought process of it. Because like I said, you know what you want, you know what you are going for. Yes, it's good to get advice from others, but in reality, all the advice from others is good, but you are the one that has to walk the path. You have to walk the path, experience it. The result of this indecision and negative thought is often found in the loss of material wealth. Suppose independence, which required many years of toil and effort, suddenly disappears. It is often found then that money and property are not independence at all. On the contrary, the only independence is found to be a practical working knowledge of the creative power of thought. This practical working method cannot come to you until you learn that the only real power which you can have is the power to adjust yourself to divine and unchangeable principles. You cannot change the infinite, but you can come into an understanding of the natural laws. The reward of this understanding is a conscious realization of your ability to adjust your thought faculties with the universal thought which is omnipresent. Your ability to cooperate with this omnipotence will indicate the degree of success with which you will meet. The power of thought has many counterfeits which are more or less fascinating, but the results are harmful instead of helpful. Of course, worry, fear, and all negative thoughts produce to crop after their kind. Those who harbor thoughts of this kind must inevitably reap what they have sown. Again, there are the phenomena seekers who gormandize on the so-called proofs and demonstrations obtained at materializing seances, materializing seances, S-E-A-N-C-E-S. Found a new word for us to look up. Okay, one thing too that I want you guys to observe with me is not only what I am learning, but also how I am acting. Okay, how I am being with whatever it is that I'm going through, because I know that I'm not the only one, and that a lot of you guys are going through the same thing. Okay, we all have these things to fight. We all have these things that we need to overcome within ourselves as well as from the outside world. Where is it? Seances. Seances? A meeting in which a spiritualist attempts to communicate with the spirits of the dead. A session or seating as a class of organization. Okay, again, there are the phenomena seekers, okay, who gormandize on the so-called proofs and demonstration obtained at materializing seances. They throw open their mental doors and soak themselves in the most poisonous currents which can be found in the psychic world. They do not seem to understand that it is the ability to overcome negative, receptive, and passive, and thus drain themselves in all their vital forces, which enables them to bring about these vibratory thought forms. There are also the Hindu worshippers, who see in the materializing phenomena, which are performed by the so-called adepts, a source of power, forgetting, that never seeming to realize that as soon as the will is withdrawn and the forms wither, and the vibratory forces of which they are composed vanish. This is so true because I had my own personal experiences with this type of experience. I had my experiences with this type of experience, this type of thing that he is talking about with this thing. Because once you stop putting your power into it, it vanishes. Once you stop putting your consciousness into that specific area of your life, the power that you had in that area vanishes. Okay, I know for a fact that that is true, because even right now I am going through that, because I just know that I have to keep going and I cannot stop. We're not here to quit, we're not here to stop, we're here to keep going. Telepathy, or thought transference, has received considerable attention, but as it requires a negative mental state on the part of the receiver, the practice is harmful. A thought may be sent into the intentions of hearing or seeing, but it will bring the penalty attached to the inversion of the principle involved. Whoa. Now that was pretty cool. In many instances, hypnotism is positively dangerous to the subject as well as to the operator. Excuse me, I'm sorry. No one familiar with the laws governing in the mental world would think of attempting to dominate the will of another, for by doing so, he will gradually but surely divest himself of his own power. Divest meaning he would affect himself. He would bring himself down with his own power. Okay. These last two sentences, what he's talking about, telepathy or thought transference, is transferring your thought from you to another individual. But that other individual could really receive it in a really bad way if they are in a negative state of mind, and that could do a lot of potential harm to them as well as to yourself. Okay? All of these perversions have their temporary satisfactions and for some a keen fascination, but there is an indefinitely greater fascination in the true understanding of the world of power within. A power which increases with use, is permanent instead of fleeting, which not only is potent as a remedial agency to bring about the remedy for past error or results of wrong thinking, but is a prophylactic agency, protecting us from all manner and form of danger, and finally is an actual creative force with which we can build new conditions and new environments. The law is that thought will correlate with its object and bring forth in the material world the correspondence of the thing thought or produced in the mental world. And that law is the law of attraction, which our thoughts correlate with that specific object and we attract it into our lives. When we discern the absolute necessity of seeing that every thought has the inherent germ of truth, in order that the law of growth will bring into manifestation good, for good alone can confer any permanent power. The principle which gives a thought the dynamic power to correlate with its object, and therefore to master every adverse human experience, is the law of attraction, which is another name for love. This is an eternal and fundamental principle, inherent in all things, in every system of philosophy, in every religion, and in every science. There is no getting away from the law of love. It is feeling that imparts vitality to thought. Feeling is desire, and desire is love. Thought impregnated with love becomes invincible. That's why you need to find what you love to do. You have to find what you love to do. We find this truth emphasized wherever the power of thought is understood. You have to find what you love to do, because when you're in the field of what you love to do, you'll be thinking about it a lot, and you'll always be getting new ideas, you'll always be getting new things and new and better ways, innovative ways to get better and farther in along the lines of whatever occupation that it is that you're doing, that you have a passion for. Because like he's saying, desire is what gives life and vitality to thought. It is desire. When you desire to make something happen, you're giving information, you're giving thoughts and ideas in order to help you manifest that thing in your life. Because God is love, and God wants you to have everything you want to have within your life. We find this truth emphasized wherever the power of thought is understood. The universal mind is not only intelligence, but it is substance, and this substance is the attractive force which brings electrons together by the law of attraction, so that they form atoms. Remember that magnetism I was telling you about, the magnetism which holds all of those electrons together. The atoms in turn are brought together by the same law of form molecules. Molecules take objective form. And so we find that the law of love is the creative force behind every manifestation, not only of atoms, but of worlds, of the universe, of everything of which the imagination can form any conception. Now remember, the imagination is the tool, our mind's tool of using and creating and seeing things as they could be before they actually are. It exists in here, but it won't exist out here until you take the necessary actions and do the work to make it happen. Remember, visualization and idealization is a product of the imagination. It is the operation of the marvelous law of attraction which has caused men in all ages and all times to believe that there must be some personal being who responded to their petitions and desires, and manipulated events in order to comply with their requirements. It is the combination of thought and love which forms the irresistible force, called the law of attractions. And what is the law of attraction? The law of attraction is that thoughts will correlate with its object and bring forth in the material world the correspondence of the thing thought or produced in the mental world. Okay. All natural laws are irresistible. They're always happening. They're happening right now. At this very moment, as you are watching this video and as I am making this video, we are both using and putting this law into play. The law of gravitation, or electricity, or any other law operates with mathematical exactitude. There is no variation. It is only the channel of distribution which may be imperfect. If a bridge falls, we do not attribute the collapse to any variation of the law of gravitation. If a light fails us, we do not conclude that the laws governing electricity cannot be depended upon. And if the law of attraction seems to be imperfectly demonstrated by an inexperienced or uninformed persons, we are not to conclude that the greatest and most infallible law upon which the entire system of creation depends has been suspended. We should rather conclude that a little more understanding of the law is required, for the same reason that the correct solution of a difficult problem in mathematics is not always readily and easily obtained. There's always more to learn. There's always more to learn. Things are created in the mental or spiritual world before they appear in the outward act or event. By the simple process of governing our thought forces today, we help create the events which will come into our lives in the future, perhaps even tomorrow. Educated desire is the most potent means of bringing into action the law of attraction. Man is a constitute of what he first creates. Man is so constituted that he must first create the tools, or implements, by which he gains the power to think. The mind cannot comprehend an entirely new idea until a corresponding vibratory brain cell has been prepared to receive it. This explains why it is so difficult for us to receive or appropriate an entirely new idea. We have no brain cells capable of receiving it. We are therefore incredulous. We do not believe it. What is the method of increasing the power of these brain cells, and also in the power of your mind? Repetition. Repetition, constantly repeating, because remember, thoughts are like the food. Your brain cells eat thoughts as they are food, okay? And the more greater the thoughts you have, the more greater food your brain cells are getting, okay? They take up every single thought that is thought into it, and the repeated thoughts are the ones you consciously can remember all the time. If, therefore, you have not been familiar with the omnipotence of the law of attraction, and the scientific method by which it can be put into operation, or if you have not seen the familiar with the unlimited possibilities which it opens to those who are enabled to take advantage of the resources it offers, begin now to create the necessary brain cells which will enable you to comprehend the unlimited powers which may be yours by cooperating with natural law. This is done by concentration or attention. The intention governs the attention. The intention governs the attention. Power comes through repose. It is by concentration that deep thoughts, wise speech, and all forces of high potentiality are accomplished. It is in the silence that you get into touch with the omnipotent power of the subconscious mind, from which all power is evolved. Now remember, the subconscious mind is the median between the finite mind and the infinite mind. The subconscious mind is the one that is the same likeness and quality as the infinite mind. The subconscious mind is the one that is identical with this infinite source. It is through the subconscious that the conscious can receive, and it is from the within our conscious power to be able to direct what we would like to have manifest in our lives. Directing the subconscious, and the subconscious receives from the infinite and gives the information to the conscious part of the mind. That is why you are simply only to state what you desire, not the means and how to obtain it. That will happen when you are ready for it, and when you are receptive to receive what you have asked for. It is in the silence that you get in touch with the omnipotent power of the subconscious mind, from which all power is evolved. He who desires wisdom, power, or permanent success of any kind will find it only within. It is an unfoldment. The unthinking may conclude that the silence is very simple and easily attained, but it should be remembered that only in absolute silence may one come into contact with divinity itself, may learn of the unchangeable law, and open for himself the channels by which persistent practice and concentration leads to perfection. This week, go to the same room, take the same chair, the same position as previously. Be sure to relax, let go, both mentally and physically. Always do this. Never try to do any mental work under pressure. See that there are no tense muscles or nerves, that you are entirely comfortable. Now, why is it important to make sure that you are entirely comfortable and relaxed? Remember, worry, fear, anxiety, all of these things, discomfort, all lead to mental stress. Okay, when you're mentally stressed, you won't entirely be receptive, and you won't entirely be able to think correctly, clearly, consciously, because of that uncomfortability, I guess you could say, not being relaxed. Okay. Now realize your unity with omnipotence. Get into touch with this power. Come into a deep and vital understanding, appreciation, and realization of the fact that your ability to think is your ability to act upon the universal mind and bring it into manifestations. And if you find it hard to do this, ask. Ask God. Ask the universe. Ask Him to reveal Himself to you slowly and surely. Okay? We're surrounded by this mind. You are surrounded by a mind. Okay? You may not be aware of it. You may not be conscious of it. Some of you may be. Some of you will not be. Okay? If you are not, if you don't see, if you're having trouble, ask. Allow it to reveal itself to you so it could strengthen your belief, so it could strengthen your experience, so it could strengthen your way of seeing this omnipotent power of which all things proceed. Realize that it will meet any and every requirement, that you will have exactly the same potential ability which any individual ever did have or ever will have, because each is but an expression or manifestation of the one, all the parts of the whole. There is no difference in kind or quality, the only difference being one of degree. Now that is the end of part 12. Now we have one quote to go over. It says, "Thought cannot conceive of anything that may not be brought into expressions. He who first uttered it may only be the suggester, but the door will open, the door will appear." End quote. And that is by Wilson. So now part 12, study questions and answers. Question number 1. How may any purpose in life be best accomplished? Through a scientific understanding of the spiritual nature of thought. 2. What 3 steps are absolutely essential? The knowledge of our power, the courage to dare, and the faith to do. How is the practice working knowledge secured? By an understanding of natural laws. 4. What is the reward of an understanding of these laws? A conscious realization of our ability to adjust ourselves to divine and unchanging principles. 5. What will indicate the degree of success with which we meet? The degree in which we realize that we cannot change the infinite, but we must cooperate with it. 6. What is the principle which gives a thought its dynamic power? The law of attraction, which rests on vibration, which in turn rests upon the law of love. Thought impregnated with love becomes invincible. Why is this law irresistible? Because it is a natural law. All natural laws are irresistible and unchangeable, and act with mathematical exactitude. There is no deviation or variation. And for me to add on to that is because God is love. That is why the law of love, the law of attraction, is irresistible. 8. Why then does it sometimes seem to be difficult to find the solution to our problems in life? For the same reason that it is sometimes difficult to find the correct solution to a difficult mathematical problem. The operator is uninformed or inexperienced. 9. Why is it important for the mind to grasp an entirely new idea? We have no corresponding vibratory brain cells capable of receiving the idea. Why and how is wisdom secured? By concentration. It is an unfoldment. It comes from within. Now that is the end of chapter 12. That is the end of the study questions and answers. Remember, we are reading this one day every single week. If you've seen this video, I encourage you to buy this book yourself and to do this yourself. I'm only here showing you my progress, because I'm here to inspire you, I'm here to motivate you, and I'm here to learn this myself so I can take my life to the next stage and to the next level of living, because each generation should and it should naturally want more out of life for themselves, because it is God wanting more and to express himself more in his own creations through us. So it is only natural to want more. Don't be afraid to go for more, even if you are the only one that seems to be going for it, especially in your realm, okay, especially in your atmosphere, your whatever you're going through in life right now. Stay close to your goals and never stop, and just keep going regardless of how challenging and hard it may seem. Okay. Thank you for watching this video. If you made it to the end of this video, I know it's really long, but it's necessary for the length of it is necessary, especially for what it is that we're trying to do. And I'm going to go ahead and end it right here. Like I said, thank you for watching. If you liked it, please like. If you also share and subscribe. And I will see you guys on the other side of the galaxy.